Welcome to A Quest for Metal. Today we are ranking Lamb of God's albums from my least favourite to my favourite. And you know how these videos go. Before I get started with my list, pop yours down below. What Lamb of God albums do you love? What Lamb of God albums do you hate? Is there any you hate? Let me know and let's get started. So coming in last for me is the New American Gospel. This one is mainly a production issue I have with this one. It does sound very murky, very muddy compared to a lot of the other releases by Lamb of God, but there are some standout tracks on here, especially Black Label, which they play still today, and that's one of the most fucking intense live shows I've been to. Lamb of God playing Black Label. The crowd was mental, the mosh pits were crazy, the Wall of Death to Black Label, god damn it's good. So it has some great songs, and Pariah is fantastic. A warning, there's lots of good songs on here, it's just kind of held back by shoddy production. And you can't help it, you know, it's the debut. You can't help it. But if I'm going to pick an album to listen to right now, which is how I usually do these kind of lists, this one isn't going to be the first one I pick. It's going to be the last one I pick, to be honest. Yeah. If the production was better, if it was remastered, maybe it'll be higher on my list. But again, I do think other albums have stronger songs on, better songwriting. This one is just very hardcore, very in your face, very aggressive. It's one of the most aggressive ones, along with the second album, but I think the songwriting on that is so good compared to this one. But yeah, so coming in last is the New American Gospel. Coming in second last is the latest album, self-titled Lamb of God. This one was kind of disappointing. It's just kind of run-of-the-mill Lamb of God, paint by numbers. Some of the songs I didn't really like, actually. Some of the songs were just flat-out bad. But a lot of the others were really good, so it's a kind of hit-and-miss album for me. It's not as, inventive as Strum or Strum My Dong. Not as inventive as that. I love the album. The clean singing and all that shit, it was awesome. It's not as catchy as anything from Sacrament or Raph, so it's just kind of in this weird spot. And I do think the songwriting is just not as good as some of the other albums, and it's kind of not as memorable, and if I'm talking objectively, it's probably the worst album they've done. Song-wise, it's worse than the first album, but enjoyment-wise, I can hear stuff on this, and there are some standout tracks, so I give it a bit of an edge, because I'd rather listen to this. Memento Mori, especially, is a fantastic song. Great builder of a song, Memento Mori. New Colossal Hate, Resurrection Man's fun as well. And Roots was a fun song, but the song with Jimmy Jasta I just don't like at all. Don't like that song with Jimmy Jasta. I don't know why, it just doesn't click with me. Also, Checkmate's a bit weird. Not a big fan of that either, so hit and miss songs on this one, but overall it's still enjoyable. So, coming second to last, but it's not bad. Next up is Resolution. A lot better of an album than the self-titled, but again, it's kind of paint by numbers. Coming off the heels of Raph, I don't think it's quite as memorable. A lot of people hate Raph as well, I don't know why. That was awesome. Desolation, Ghost Walking, Invictus, awesome songs on this one. It's definitely a step up from the two I mentioned, in songwriting, in production, in everything. It's a step up, but in re-listenability, it's just not there. It's not as good as Raph, not as good as Sacrament, not as good as Ashes of the Wake. It's gotta be middle of the pack. It's gotta be middle of the pack. Next up is Strum My Dong. I love this album. I think it is a step up. So from here on out, these albums are awesome. Those ones, pretty good. From here on out, these are awesome. Some people didn't like the fact that he was doing clean singing on this one, but I loved it. Great change of pace, and that song, especially, holy shit. Still echoes, 512, Overlord. There's too many good songs on this album. This is a great album. From start to finish, this is a banger. I'd probably give this about 7.5 out of 10, maybe 8 out of 10. That's how much I like this album. Overlord's such a good song as well. This is kind of like the kind of comeback album, because not too many people liked Raph. I don't know why though, and then not too many people liked Resolution, and then they came back swinging with this one, and this is like the kind of comeback. Like, this is something fresh, this is something new, but they also have heavy stuff in there as well. So it's a nice mix of both. Great songwriting. It was just a breath of fresh air for Lamb of God, and this is what we needed, and it fucking delivered. So I was talking about it for a lot, so Raph is next. A underrated album. I think one of the band members even said it was probably the best work, they said. And, you know, some of these cuts are fantastic. Set to Fail is such a great song. Such a great song. Contractor. Broken Hands is fantastic. Grace. Choke Sermon. So this has banger after banger. It is an underrated album. I think it's one everyone should go back and listen to. Because it's better than you think. You know, it's better than you think. Great album. I loved it when it came out. Still really enjoy it now. So, yeah. Raph by Lamb of God. Still a fantastic album. Next up is As the Palaces Burn. Very tempted to put this as number 2, but it's going to go for number 3. It was very, very tempted. Again, we're not doing Burn the Priest. We're just doing Lamb of God studio albums. Yeah, I mean, come on. Starting off with Ruin. Then As the Palaces Burn. 11th Hour. Virgil. This takes everything from the debut and cranks it up to 11. It's still intense, but you can hear it clearer. The grooves are better, the melodies are better, the singing is better. Everything about this album is just so much better than the debut. Yeah, I wanted to put it number 2, but there's just too many good albums, so it's gotta come as number 3, but it's probably the most aggressive album they've ever done. It's the most intense and furious, so, you know, if that's your thing, you'll love this album and you'll probably have it at number 1. For me, it's number 3, so yeah, let's move on before I just blow loads everywhere. So number 2, and most people's favourite, is Sacrament. This has the most catchy songs on. This is the album that got me into the band. I mean, Redneck, come on. Come on. That fucking music video where they just crash the kid's birthday party. Redneck's just a fun fucking song. Walk With Me in Hell. Come on. Blacken the Cursed Sun. Too many good hits on this one. It's catchy as hell. It's probably the most, I don't want to say mainstream, but you know what I mean? It's the one that kind of broke them into the mainstream. It's a fantastic album. You know, just because it's popular doesn't mean it's bad. This is really goddamn good. And it's one of the best Lamb of God albums, and it's also one of my favourites. Sacrament is awesome. But that only leaves one, number 1, and it was always this. It's always going to be this, and always will be this. Ashes of the Wake. From the art to the music held within its perfection. The song Ashes of the Wake, Laid to Rest, Hourglass, Omerta, Now You've Got Something to Die For. Yeah, it's perfect. And I mean, the closing song, you know, Ashes of the Wake, when it has that kind of military speech thing, it's amazing. The melodies, the groove, the punch, the heart of the songs, the lyrics, fantastic. As soon as people voted for Lamb of God, I was like, I know my number 1 straight away, Ashes of the Wake. No questions asked, every song is perfection, every song is just a deeper meaning, and it's awesome. Ashes of the Wake is the best Lamb of God album. So that was my ranking for Lamb of God. Hopefully you guys agree with my list, or liked my list at least. You don't have to agree with it, just like it. So let me know down below what's your favourite Lamb of God albums, what's your least favourites, and we'll see you again on another Quest for Metal.